So it's been a year since I did a Toolbox tour, so let's do an updated one. I am missing a box of bit drivers from Tekton. It's their big complete set, like 90 pieces or something like that. A friend of mine's got it because he's working on a tractor. And my dad's been using a level and stuck it on my toolbox. Okay, so sorry for the mess. I'm currently working on my dirt bike, so that's why that's there. That's trash. My chain broke. So on the top, I keep flashlights. I normally have a really big flashlight. It's in my bedroom right now because I needed it. This is a pressure regulator valve, 1/2 inch. That's for an air cannon I'm building. So on top, in the back, I keep metric and SAE impact sets, deep and shallow. It's not complete, but I don't really use that many of them. Clipboard for when you need to take notes on things. 3/8 and 1/2 inch impact. I used to have a snap-on one, but that was the boss's at work because he had like 3 of them. So I just kept it up there. So I bought this one to replace it. Light that I need to fix. It's a spotlight. Gloves and a Milwaukee Inksol marker, the best markers. Magnetic trays, I keep those up here. They're really handy when you do any mechanic work at all. Random bolt bin of strike plates and an oil nozzle in an acro bin. I keep a torque wrench here, a pile of rags here. I got a bin full of rags on the other side. Bond house, Torx wrenches, and a can of air tool oil. On the top of my Harbor Freight toolbox, I now have a butcher block top that we put like glycerin on. In the front, I now have a bunch of stickers. On the side, I also have a bunch of stickers and a couple of magnetic lights. In the top drawer, I keep my long 1/4 inch extensions, breaker bar, 1/2 inch, my 1/2 inch long Mac ratchet, 1/2 inch and 3/8 speed handles, a 20-something inch Tekton 3/8 ratchet, 3/8 long extension, a bunch of 1/4 inch long extensions. They go up to like 18 inches, I think. Down here I have an SK 24-inch extension and a no name that I got from somewhere. Toolbox of some kind at a yard sale. It's like a 16, 14-inch. 1/2 inch snap-on. 3/8 flex head snap-on. My little mini breaker bar. This was made by Action. This was my first ratchet I got when I was younger. Well, it's not really ratchet, but this is what I always had with me for doing small engine work. Tekton 3/8 quick release ratchet. I really like these quick release ratchets. Snap-on long handle 1/4 inch. Tekton 1/4 inch quick release. Stubby Tekton non-quick release and stubby 3/8 non-quick release. A couple of 3/8 extensions. Snap-on wobble, little stubby one, just another 3/8. I got a bunch of 3/8 and 1/2 inch extensions in here, but this is the stuff I use the most, so it stays right here. A couple of 1/4 inch long extensions, some shorter 3-inch extensions, a little mini 1/4 inch breaker bar to get into really tight spaces. In here is adapters, wobblers, drivers. Here's my snap-on 1/4 inch one. Wobble sockets, extra sockets that didn't fit on my socket trays. Stuff like that. Like this is a 3/16 because on my 3/16, it won't fit over the peg, so it lives in there, and I have a random one that fits over. So I have, for standard, 1/4 and 3/8 deep and shallow, E-Torques in 1/4-inch drive deeps for studs on Briggs & Stratton carburetors, a impact driver, a set of 3/8 drive impacts, deep and SAE and metric shallows, an inch-pound screwdriver. It's very handy. Stubby 3/8 drive sockets up to like 3/4, 19 millimeter. Back here I have the 21 to 24 deep and shallow, because this only goes up to 20, and a set of screwdriver bits for this or running in a screw gun. So that is the, oh, and then I do have a bunch of silica packets in here. Helps protect the tools. Next drawer down is my wrench drawer. I'm actually missing a couple of crescent wrenches. I normally have a little stubby, like 4-inch one, and then a 6-inch, and then I have my 10-inch. It goes from 1/4 to 5/16, and from like 8 to 22, but I also have a 6 millimeter in here for carburetor stuff. My other ratcheting wrenches are back here, because I really only use the 3/8. Half moon wrench. This is a 1/2-inch 7/16 for working on boat motors, and a set of ignition wrenches in metric for working on carburetors. It goes from 4 millimeter to 11 millimeter. Pliers drawer. I keep these ones in the back stacked because I don't really do a lot of wiring, and when I do, I generally grab all 3 of these. This one's for hose work, like when you're running new fuel line and stuff, you just use this to cut it. It's a cable cutter, works really well for that. These Easy Red Kiwi pliers, you can actually see what you're doing, so instead of like a normal pair of needle nose where you're like this trying to see around them in a hole, these your hands down below it, so you can actually see what you're trying to grab. I have a short and long. I really like these Doyle pliers. They're pretty solid. You open up a lot of packages, so you got to have a pair of scissors in here, some hemostats. I got these on clearance from SK. You'll notice that I have a lot of cheaper tools, but they get the job done. This whole set was of these little mini long pliers was like $5 at Tractor Supply. Down here is a bunch of hammers. Most of these I got used at yard sales. Here's the one I normally use. I use a dead blow a lot. This is just a Harbor Freight one. For cases and things you don't want to damage. Teardrop mallet 2-inch Pittsburgh. I hardly ever use it, but I don't know if that's showing up on camera, but the face is kind of beat up. Come on, get in there. There we go. And a rubber mallet. Next one down is my picks. I don't know where that one is. My dad must have been in here and he's using that for... Oh, here it is. He didn't put it back. So I've got scrapers, gasket scrapers. They do get used. This one's kind of dirty still. Small picks, a big pick set, trim tools, a little pry bar thing, and then these get used the most for those plastic push pins. This is all my big wrenches. It starts at 1 inch and goes to 1 1/4, and then it goes from 24 or 25 millimeter to 32 millimeter. I don't have a 23 or 24. I haven't really run into those sizes, but I do need to get them. And this is a 30 and 32 deep and shallow for like axle nuts. And down here is my mess of a drawer for air tools. Drill bit index, that's lettered and numbered. A couple air drills, high-speed cutoff, 90 and a straight die grinder, or two 90 die grinders and a straight die grinder, two air ratchets, air chisel, my air-powered grinder because I was using it the other day. Screwdrivers, so I got a big flathead here, a couple of snap-on longs, an SK, an old no-name long handle, my Klein really nice ones here, my assorted stuff. So one thing you'll learn when you start working on stuff is you need a little ratchet like this for bits so you can reach up inside somewhere. It's pretty handy. Snap on third finger. The only two nut drivers I ever really use are a 5/16 and a 1/4 inch. This was a cheapie I got for on clearance for $1. It works. This is the one you just grab it and you throw it in your toolkit when you go to a customer's house. Spark plug boot puller. Sometimes they're really stubborn, so you stick this down over the spark plug and pull back. My snap-on spring tool. Brake and strut and carburetor adjustment tool, and some stubbies and just random carburetor tools and stuff like that. My junk drawer, miscellaneous drawer, it's got voltage testers in it, magnet. You open a lot of boxes, so I've got a X-Acto knife or a box cutter in here. A known good used starter solenoid for a Honda four-wheeler. Probe light, air gap gauge. This is a sharpener for pencils. My tachometer uses vibration. Hose pinch off set. Pliers. These are like gear wrench, I think. They're really good. Here's another probe. Blowgun, spark plug socket, scraper for opening beer bottles after work when you want to chill with the boss. A feeler gauge, two feeler gauge sets, a small one and a standard. Pencil gauge, left-hand drill bits, hog rings for a snap-on impact gun, another pocket knife, a spark tester, aspirin. This is a special tool designed for Briggs and Stratton carburetor adjustment for doing the governor. T-handle of some kind. Pens and pencils and random stuff. Here's my punches. Pin punches, big pin punches. My Pittsburgh punch set. Just a random piece of track spacer. Custom punches from a buddy of mine that are aluminum. A really long alignment punch. Some cold chisels, because I use the cold chisels the most, so they're up front. So this is the random stuff. So I got a file here for taking burrs and stuff off, a pile of random wrenches that I can modify and do what I need with, old school pipe wrench and inspection mirror, batteries for my flashlights, Allen keys SAE and metric, 32mm Yamaha wrench. When I was a welder, here's the homemade pry bar I made on the iron worker. You'd slot it in, you'd twist it sideways, and you'd spread the piece of steel, the pieces of angle iron they had clamped together, so you could drop in a piece of plate to get it welded. My tap sets, special valve tool for valves for Briggs and Stratton, some step drills, couple of random taps and dies that are extra. couple of random drill bits that are common sizes down here. Military grease from 1979. It's axle grease. It's really good stuff. And a little toolkit in case you need to go on the road somewhere, and hearing protection. So that's the Toolbox tour updated 1 year later. I got laid off recently, so this is now at home. I actually got laid off like a month and a half ago, so that's why this is here now. Underneath it I have some random parts bins and stuff, like over there in that red toolbox is air fittings, that's fine thread stuff in there and packages, conduit stuff and bearings and electrical stuff. Yes, I have bearings. You can never have too much random crap laying around, so there's a updated Toolbox tour. Hope you guys liked it.